Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Sports Talk with me, Rika. What's going on, man? It was a very, very emotional night last night for Luka Doncic, man. It was a great tribute to him in Dallas. I love that. I love what they did. A lot of players. When you go back to where you've been for a long time, of course, the team would do that, but it was great. It was very emotional for him, and I have satellite, so it was when you go to commercial, when you go to commercial, you guys see the commercial. Not that I don't see the commercials, but I see part of my TV show the commercial that's playing that what they're showing on the regular TV, and then also I see behind the scene that the shows that they have in the arena when you go to the games. When they're throwing the t-shirt, doing the dances, all the stuff, and it was crazy. The fans were going nuts at Nico Harris, man. They was chanting "Fire Nico." It was. I mean, of course, he was there with his team. He was there with his people, whatever. Had to have some bodyguard. It was tough. But he did exactly what he did his job, and I think that the fans going at him because they don't know exactly, what's going on, and it wasn't Nico really who set the trade. The ownership group, the Allison family bought the team, the wife and the son actually running the team. And they looking at it. One, they want to move the Mavericks to Vegas. That's number one. And they don't want to be in Dallas. That's what it is. So they've been flirting with the idea of telling the city of Dallas, hey, they want a brand new arena, because they're looking at the Cowboy Stadium, 110,000 sitting. And that stadium can fill to 140, 150 people in there standing. And I know the fire marshals in Dallas usually let that stuff go through, but I'm saying so the Allison family, they're looking at that to see, hey, yes, they want to bring most of the businesses they have are in Vegas, so they want to bring the team to Vegas, but so they plan in a way to tell the city, hey, we want this, we want X, Y, and Z to do that. They want the city to build them a new arena, similar to the Cowboys, with 140 seats sitting, but to be able to take at least 180 to 200 people, not including their boxing, by the way, and they want more stuff that the city's not willing to give, because those stadium costs, at least $2-3 billion, and that's a tax funded. And they telling the family, hey, you have to come up. We could give you $1 billion, but you have to come up with the $3 billion. But they're not trying to do that. They saying, well, it's a luxury to have us there, And when they look at it at the same time too, you're gonna pay Luka $400 million, almost $500 million to see Luka doesn't work out, right? Luka doesn't work out. Luka smoking his hookah, drinking his beer, doing all that stuff. He does not work out, and to see, okay, we're gonna invest this amount of money on $500 million on a player who's not gonna give its all. He's not gonna give his all to us. We're not gonna actually live out the contract. We're not gonna benefit from the contract, but they would benefit from it. I know they were looking at more long term. Can he sustain that? You see this similar to Zion's. You see the Pelicans put a weight clause on with Zion to say, hey, if you gain weight, which was crazy, you can't gain weight, you can't do this, you can't do that. Listen, when you're in that level, when you're rich, man, when you have money, I'm not talking about having $10 million. I'm talking about when you have, with over $100 million plus, you can hire a chef, You know what I mean? You can hire a chef to do that, and the team give you also. The team have chefs. They have nutritionists on site to have the type of meal, to have a meal prep, the meal plan for you as a player. You can take advantage of that. You know what I mean? So, but a lot of those guys, they're young. The Zion, the Luka, those guys are young. Luka's worked out the most he's ever worked out with the Lakers. You know what I mean? Because LeBron James is there. You see LeBron James show up to the arena 6 hours before games. You know what I mean? LeBron go work out, right? He go and work out. Yeah, you know what I mean. After working out, he go to the gym. For shoot around. Then he come in, he work out. You know what I mean? He train, whatever. He get some treatment. Then go to the gym to shoot around and come back to get treatment, to go all that stuff and eat, to do all that stuff. You know what I mean? So he's looking at LeBron doing that. By the time the game start, 6 hours before the game start, LeBron's already in the lab getting treatment, doing all that stuff. So now, which is similar. You see now Jaylen Brown doing the same thing. He said the other day, he invests $500,000 on his body. Yes, the team have the nutritionists, they have all the people there to train him, but he spent $500,000 on his body. $500 million. He said, $500,000. I'm sorry, he said 500 to 600,000 he spent on his body to hire people, the doctors, to make sure to check him, to make sure everything is good. So when you have that kind of money, you can invest some of that in your body. But these guys are young. They never had that type of money before. They have access to a lot of stuff. Women is involved, so they hanging out. They're doing a lot of stuff. So they're not trying. They're looking at, okay, let me wait till later. You look at Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony never worked out like that, until the bubble, being with the Lakers, being with LeBron James, seeing what he does. You know what I mean? Seeing what LeBron doing, but at that point, it was too late. If you wait to the end, the tail end of your career to decide, hey, I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna do all X, Y, and Z, it's not gonna work. You need that discipline early on to be able to do that, which is something that LeBron has done for decades, which is part of his greatness. Since the kid could have went to the NBA, since he was 15, 16. David Stern, the league didn't want to take him then because he was too young. They were like, no, they didn't want to do that to him, but he was that good, beating Michael Jordan 1-on-1, doing all that stuff. So he had the opportunity to do it, but he's been working out. He's been putting out regimen. Yes, he didn't have the millions to do that, but he was working out. Doing all that stuff. He was the original NIL deal, but that was a secret. I remember being in college, you can even somebody give you a Snicker bar, you can even take it. Because then you had to. Yeah, it was good. You were worried about the NCAA, kicking you out in violation. There was a lot of stuff, man. And these people are making billions of dollars, and you're a student athlete, you starve, and somebody want to give you a sandwich, you couldn't even take that because they felt like it was a bribe. It was like, come on, man, you walk up to a restaurant and you broke, your family don't have the money. You broke, you're a college student, you broke, you can't call home for money. You know how it is, and you at a restaurant, barely you scrape up some change to go get something to eat. Your friends together, hey, let's put together. We sharing a meal. You know how it is, man. You've been there, and some fans who, hey, like what you did. Hey, you got 2 sacks in a game that made him some money. Whatever. Say, hey, kids, hey, listen, I'm gonna pay for your meal, and you can't accept that. You know what I mean? And you want to. You want a slice of pizza, you starving, your stomach is calling you, talking to you, and you can't take it, man. But still, I don't want to lose the point. I don't want to go off topic, but what I'm just saying is, for Luka, they look at Dallas made a business decision for them. They told Nico to do his job. Yeah, they told Nico what they wanted as the general manager of the team. Yes, he's gonna tell the ownership his opinion. Hey, I think that we should do X, Y, and Z. I don't think this, whatever. But he's gonna do what his boss tell him to do. Like, you're gonna be a fool when your boss tell you to do something. Just say, hey, I'm not gonna do it. Because, for you to say you're not gonna do something that your boss asked you to do, all you're doing is really shorten your length of work. I mean, all you're doing is like, how long you think that's gonna last? You know what I mean? Stuff like that won't last that long. So Nico did exactly what his boss told him to do, because they're looking at, we're gonna dish out $500 million to a player that can sustain that longevity, not so much the longevity, but the length of the contract. You know what I mean? You're gonna give him 5-6 years. Like I said, with Luka, you don't know how long he can, he's gonna play. Yes, the injury, but when to be that heavy for him, that was something to see that. Okay, you saw during the playoffs, when they won the Western Conference Final or whatever, you saw that going to the Western Conference Final, you saw Luka on the back, drinking a beer, and then you saw, came in and took the beers from him, and I understand, I understand that, why, but at the end of the day, man, they did what was best for them, but the fans coming at Nico because they don't understand how things work. You know what I mean? Nico didn't just, you think Nico would just decide, hey, I'm gonna just I'm gonna trade Luka for Anthony Davis. Now, Anthony Davis is no slouch. When healthy, he is a premier defender. When Anthony, the only knock, there's two things I don't like about Anthony Davis. Well, one, well, I've said three. One, the fact that he's always hurt. That's Mr. Glass. Any little contact, he's out. That's number one. Two, he doesn't like to play center. You're a 7-footer. You're a 7-footer telling people you're 6'11". You're a 7-footer, bro. You know what I mean? Standing next to Kevin Durant, who's a 7-footer, you taller. You standing next, it's like, come on, man. So I don't like that. And two, there are times with smaller players, you think that he would dominate. He's just soft. I don't like that soft thing. You're a big guy. You should dominate. And those are only knocks with him. But when he's on, he is on. And when Anthony Davis is on, he could be a problem. And being in Dallas value, Kyrie Irving more than they did Luka. You know what I mean? Because they're looking at the money they were going to give Luka. You know what I mean? You about to give you were going to give him $500 million, and you have to constantly tell him, hey, you need to work out. Yeah, he gets hurt here and there, and then also there's a lot of turnovers with Luka. You're able to see the ball handling, all the stuff more now because he's with the Lakers. Those games are on prime time. Those games are televised even more. So of course you see more of it. But him returning from coming home last night to see him crying. You know what I mean? Even before the shoot around. Like I said, you guys didn't get to see that a lot of the shoot around. But having satellite, I'm able to see all the stuff. I was looking at tapped in before, I don't want to explain all that stuff. But anyway, it is something that to see him very, he didn't really want to play last night. You know what I mean? What JJ Redick told him, hey, we got you. We got you, man. And you see LeBron step up, and I was very disappointed too with LeBron James, man. A lot of turnovers. Come on, bro. The past 2 games. It's good to see the NBA rescinded that technical they give Luka. They were like, yo, this is the referee, man, cost the Lakers the game because the Lakers were up by 1 at that point, and you cost them the game by taking Luka out of the game, and that was something. Those ref, that referee should have been fired. That ref should have been fired, and I think that there should be. The NBA, the league's making all those changes, all the stuff. I think there should be some changes with the coaches. I mean, not the coaches, with the refs. If you make bad calls, that you should be fined. There should be some stuff, some ramification with that. There should be some stuff. Okay, if you do X, Y, and Z, you make a call, because that call was personal. You know what I mean? It looked like he had money in the game. Luka's talking to the fans. Luka talked to the fans all the time. Players talk to fans all the time. You know what I mean? It's been going around for decades. Jordan, all those guys did it. Talk to fans. It's not something that, you know what I mean, that Luka just started doing. Yeah, he does that. You know what I mean? Kevin Durant, all those guys do that. You know what I mean? Anthony Edwards, I could go on. So to see that, you know, the guy having a thing with the fan, he hit a three, he talked to the fans, and then you decide to kick him out of the game. You cost them the game. There were so many penalties I see that, you know, they call. It's like they wanted OKC to win the game. That's what they wanted to. They wanted OKC to win the game. You know, man. And they didn't want the Lakers to do it because, again, they have LeBron James. They didn't want that. They were doing everything possible. Those refs, everything possible to cost them the game. And you know, those technical one of Vanderbilt. You know, these refs. You know, it's like ever since that ref that got, you know, he got arrested for betting against the game, you know, doing a lot of stuff like that, and he took the ref for a lot of refs. The NBA, the league decided, hey, they paid him. They paid him to not talk, because it would have been a bad rap on the league itself. And there was conversation to even talk about Michael Jordan, where the league told him to do this, to not do X, Y, and Z for Jordan to benefit. And but you can see that, and I understand with SGA. He's a great player. He's a sniper, man. When he's on, he is on, and he's been dominating for a long time. And you know, they put the right team around him. You know what I mean? They put the right team around him, and you know, and it's good. You see Chet Holmgren come into his true form. You know what I mean? So he's elevating his game. You see William, all those guys, you know, stepping up. They put players that will complement him. So, which is good, But you know, like when you get in 10, 15, you know, calls going to the free throw line, man, it's not right. But you know, to see the players on the Lakers were getting hit, and they didn't call any of that. But then you breathe on this guy. He was getting the Michael Jordan treatment, and I think that you know, Adam Silver got to do better than that, because you think people are losing interest in the NBA. It's gonna be more than that, because now, you know, you're gonna look at, wait a minute, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and then this is what you're doing. So people are gonna lose interest in that when they watch players, you know, on their team getting clobbered, and then you're not calling those calls. But then, you know, because even the call with SGA, you know, when they call Austin Reeves, you know, he made that fadeaway. Austin Reeves never touched him. He was nowhere near him, but they call a foul, which was crazy. Which, like I said, is, you know, it's the same thing they used to do with Michael Jordan. So you see it, you're like, wow, this is ridiculous. So people watching these things, they say, wow, this is, how do you do something like that? You know, and that's what the product is washed down. You know, I think Adam Silver had to really step it up and to say, hey, those refs, we paying you a lot of money to do certain things, and you know, and to do certain things, you getting, you know what I mean, hotels, you getting this, you getting that, food, and we paying you almost $300,000-400,000, and then those veterans, you getting all this money, you know what I mean, your travel, your hotel, all that stuff is paid for, food, you know what I mean. So we got to be able to, you know, you got to be able to take some of that money from them if they make bad calls like that. If they make a call within, because there's a lot of you guys on the court, you know what I mean. And when you look at those refs, each of those refs are assigned part of the rule book. If you read the you know, I read some of the rule book. I didn't really care for it that much, but I read some of the rule book that a lot of the refs, you know, if you're assigned wherever the assignment is, that's, you know, this is where you got to be. So each ref have an assignment to where they're supposed to be. You know what I mean? So you know, okay, but if you're there, you see the call, you should be able to call it. If you're calling something that's not what it is, you know what I mean? So you should be fine for that. And I think that, knowing that the ramification that would come up, hey, if I do X, Y, and Z, this would happen to me. I would lose this amount of money if I do whatever. It should be that, because they shouldn't have unchecked power like that. And this is what it is. They have unchecked power to do whatever they want to, and nothing happening. And I think it should be some rules in the NBA with the player, not just the NBA, the NFL too, because there's a lot of bad calls. You know what I mean? I think in soccer, which is real football, you're able to see. I'm not saying that those refs, they don't make mistakes, but it's not like that. What you see in the NBA, what you see in the NFL, those calls are just so open. You know what I mean? To it's like, come on, man. But at the end of the day, man, with Luka coming home, he had a coming home party, man. 45 points. He was just draining threes anywhere and everywhere. I think, again, he didn't think he would be able to play because of the emotion, the love that they show him. And that was great to show him that love, man. It was something great. You know what I mean? With my water, man. Yeah, it was great. I'm not gonna edit that. I'm giving it like that. But yeah, it was great that they kept him. The coaching staff, the players. LeBron James came and hugged him. All the other players, they talked to him. You know what I mean? So it was great. And before we continue, right? A lot of people are making a big thing about Anthony Davis and LeBron James. When Anthony Davis walk up past LeBron James to get the ball, and he came back before you dap him up, whatever. Like they already talked before this. People say, oh, he's not talking to LeBron James. They already talked. Like I said, I have satellite. I'm able to see what you guys don't see on television. But they already talked prior to that. It was just, come on, man. You guys make it, too big of a deal out of that. But at the end of the day, man, like I was saying, Luka did it exactly, with the help of, the team rally around him. They say, hey, we got you. You know what I mean? They wanted them. They didn't want the same situation where when Jimmy Butler went back to Miami with Golden State, who lost last night, who had an opportunity, man. Hey, it was something. But Jimmy Butler went back. They didn't rally around him, man. He lost. They lost the game. But still, last night, the Lakers, LeBron James and the Lakers wanted to show him, hey, we got your back. Now, it wasn't pretty because Lakers, man, those turnovers, those are, LeBron James, man, those turnovers, man, this thing had to stop. Careless basketball. You know what I mean? A lot of careless basketball, playing, man. He's like, what are you doing? I really didn't like that. But, they rally around him. In the first basket, I thought he was unhit it. He checked, to let him, check the temperature I did with a three, but he didn't do that. He went in, and that was comfortable for him. Okay, all right, I could do this. And then that's it, he started lighting it up. Austin Reeves hit a three, his 1-3. He didn't have the same. Austin Reeves went off with OKC. I thought that it was gonna be the same thing. He's a star player, man. But it's crazy when as a third option on the team, your third option is LeBron James. That is crazy. For your third option to be LeBron James, so that's something that that was good. But it was a good game last night. They rallied behind. The entire arena was chanting for they came back. They wanted to see Luka, and like I said, throughout the game, when they went to commercial, you guys didn't see it. All they were doing chanting, for Nico to be fired, man. And they were just going hard at Nico, and I felt bad for him because I understand what what he had to go through. It's not easy when there's a lot of decisions that the fans don't understand that had to be made because the Dallas looking at giving Luka $500 million. A guy who, again, he doesn't work out, and they were trying to move. They're trying to dump all the heavy contract. You know what I mean? They're not trying to take on that heavy contract like that. They were trying to dump that, so it had nothing to do with Luka. It could have been anybody, but when they look at it, having Anthony Davis, who is a true rim protector, premier defender, premier player, when he's in his natural position, which is power forward, which is what he prefer to play. That's why I say he's soft, but it is good. He can wreak havoc when he's healthy. When Anthony Davis is healthy, when he wants to, he can wreak havoc in the backcourt. So under the post. So that's something that they felt that is Luka and Anthony Davis the same? No, Luka's old. I mean, Anthony Davis is older, but Anthony Davis can give you 40 any night if you want to. You know what I mean? I've seen it done. Can he be consistent? That's the only thing. He has to be consistent, and that's the only thing with Anthony Davis: being consistent, being available. And willingness, his willingness to play any position, which he's not. You know what I mean? And that was one problem that he had with the Lakers, constantly complaining to the Lakers, hey, I don't want to play center constantly, and they looking at, hey, you know what I mean? When they got the call, they had to do what was best for them. Hey, you complaining? Yes, we wanted you to be part. We want you to be part of the process here. You want a championship with us here. We want to keep you here, but you constantly complaining. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. As an owner of a team, right? It's a business. I have to do what was best for me, and send you somewhere where I have to get value for that. Which is when they call, people are upset because the call it wasn't made public because the ownership, the Addison, the son who's running the show, told Nico, hey, I don't want this on ESPN. I don't want this public. I want you to handle this quietly, because they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do that. That was a heat check to the city of Dallas to show Dallas, hey, we meant business, because they've been working out a deal for with the city again. For they want to move the team to Vegas, but they told the team, hey, we don't want to be. They told the city, we don't want to be here, but we'll stay here to make sure that we help the city. But if you're not trying to help us, we don't want that. And they wanted to show the city, hey, they meant business. Shipping Luka out of there, that was part of that was the first warning shot. You know what I mean? That was the first warning shot to ship Luka out of there. When you see the team, players were hurt. They had open tryouts. They had open tryouts so they can feel. That was something, man. But they did what they got to do, and they playing well. They playing okay. So hey, it is what it is, man. But with Luka coming back, doing what he had to do, LeBron helping him, all the other players stepped up to show the game when the game was going where it's going, but then they got a lead. It was something. Dallas had the lead, but they came back. Luka was attacking. LeBron was attacking after making several mistakes. You know what I mean? And I was calling for him for JJ to bench LeBron James. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, bench this guy, man. We better off without him. But he was benched. But they rallied back. They rallied back, man. It was a great thing to see, man. For them to step up to play like that. And Luka was on fire. You know what I mean? He missed a few shots, but he could have dropped 50. He could have dropped 50, man. I thought he would have dropped 50, but he missed a couple shots. There were a couple of rush shots, but the Lakers rallied back to win the game, which was what it was. You know what I mean? But Luka went back home, and lighting it up, man. He went back home and set up an explosion, man. And that was that's what it is, man. But it was a great game. It was a great game, but I'm excited about it, man. Anyway, man, they clinched the playoff last night. Lakers are number 6. It is good. They're gonna play Houston. They got Houston and Portland left, so any one of them they win, they got the 3rd seed. So I think that you go all out, beat the Rockets at home. You at home, beat the Rockets. You set your record straight for the third seed, and then rest LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves and Rui, and then let the role player play. Let the role player play, and then if you win, you win. Whether you win or not, it doesn't matter. You already clinched the playoff for the third seed, and that's it. So, and then you get ready. You rest your players and give them a week off. And let the play-in start. And let the play-in start, and then you know that, hey, you're gonna play whoever. You're gonna play the 6th seed. So that so it doesn't matter who it is. Right now, Golden State, they're not trying to face Lakers. Them being at 6, they're not trying to do that. So it doesn't matter for them. They're trying to, but whoever it is, Lakers will be ready to go to have home court, throughout, to have that home field advantage, because playing at home, they have a good home record. So, and that's gonna be good, man. And they know that can any team beat the Lakers in 7-game series? Good luck. So, to have that home court facing those other teams, the only time it's gonna change for them, I think that it'll be Western Conference Final when they have to face maybe OKC. OKC is the only team that would have the home court advantage, but anybody else, they will do that. They will have the home court to be able to play like that. So it's exciting to see. I'm excited to see that as well. And we'll see what happens. Anyway, man, Sports Talk. Like, subscribe, and share, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you comment. I'll respond to your comments, man. But please subscribe. Peace out. 1.